Halloween! How was it different in the 40s to the 60s?
I don't know. Let's discuss, Duke.
That's right. I'm Duke BossaNova.
And I'm Lola BossaNova.
This is BossaNova Life, and today we're discussing
Halloween. Dreams and bones and bats and bones and teenage monsters and haunted homes, a ghost on the stair, a vampire's bite. Better beware, there's a full moon tonight.
Duke, I was doing some research and I found out there's some little fun facts about Halloween. I don't know.
You were doing research, Lola?
Yes, I was doing research. I did have a research assistant, I'll be honest. So
let's do it.
Halloween has a long and varied history full of frights, ghosties, and ghoulies, with plenty of tricks and treats and frivolity thrown in. The United States had developed a variety of regional Halloween customs by the end of the 1800s. In rural New Hampshire, barn dances were a Halloween tradition. Ooh.
Barn dances, woo. Let's not get too crazy.
In New York City, Halloween parades and firecrackers were common aspects of the celebration. In the mountain regions of North Carolina, it was said that Halloween was a time when people could hear the future whispered in the wind.
I mean, that is scary.
Oh. In Louisiana, it was time to cook a midnight dumb supper.
A dumb supper? What? Wait.
A meal eaten without speaking.
Really?
A dumb supper. The extra treat of this
sad.
supper was to watch for a ghost to join the table.
Like a seance dinner.
Kinda. Could be fun. In the 1900s, Halloween became a celebration for children more than adults. Towns and cities began hosting large community Halloween celebrations, parades, and parties. This is also when the commercialization of Halloween started with the production of postcards and die-cut paper decorations.
That's right, capitalism, baby.
By the late 1900s, Halloween had become one of the most profitable holidays for American business.
Trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating became widespread during the 1940s and 1950s. It was once common for people to leave food out on a table as a treat for spirits believed to be about on All Hallows Eve. According to Time magazine, the American tradition of trick-or-treating as we know it today may have started with kids trading songs for treats in the early 20th century. Probably before Prohibition, because after that, there weren't enough drunk people to buy into it. I don't know. But it really gained popularity in the 30s and 40s when children were offered everything from homemade treats to coins, toys, and fruit. It wasn't until the 1950s that candy companies began specifically promoting their products for Halloween.
All about that
Thank you, 1950s, for commercializing everything.
But you know, there's some good and some bad with that. We got some good treats. We got some good candy.
There's some yummy candies that I love.
Good decorations.
All right, Lola.
Costumes. In the 1930s, the golden age of cinema and monster movies paved the way for the aesthetics of Halloween and its costumes for decades to come. Some of the first children's costumes were fairies, gypsies, and burglars. Oh man. In the 1950s,
Was the Hamburglar one of them?
I mean, not yet. I think that came later. Maybe.
Rubble.
In the 1950s, factory-made costumes of popular figures from movies and televisions appeared. What would that be? That would be like Howdy Doody? I don't know. I don't know what was around back then.
Popular figures from movies? Maybe the Shadow Nose.
In the 1940s and 50s, classic costumes like witches, ghosts, mummies, pirates, and pumpkins were still popular.
Arr.
And moving on into the 60s, had a lot more cowboys and Indians. A little problematic. Gypsies, hobos,
More problematic.
princesses, and all that. The 50s, with the introduction of commercialized costumes, started to create masks that were mostly made to look like animals or goblins. I love those old masks. They're pretty fantastic.
The old plastic ones, I remember those.
Best part now, lads and ladies, in the 40s, when it became more appropriate for women to bare their legs, their costumes became more revealing.
Duke liked that part.
fun stuff.
I appreciate
Fun stuff.
that. Thank you, 50s. That.
Those are 40s, but that's okay. Legs are good. Gams. Show us some gams.
We've made it all the way up to the knee so far. Man, they're getting crazy. Mischief Night.
Ooh.
As trick-or-treating became part of the American culture in the 1950s, the mischief did not disappear entirely. It just moved to the night before Halloween.
Ooh.
Can you imagine 2 nights of Halloween?
2 nights of Halloween?
It was more of a Midwest and East Coast thing and didn't spread to the West Coast at all. Kind of sad out here on the West Coast.
Well, you know what? People say really odd
Trust me,
things
we
about us.
do our own level of vandalism. I've been watching the news. While the vandalism was usually along the lines of soaping up the windows, spraying shaver cream, and throwing eggs at houses and tossing toilet paper over trees and bushes,
I never did that.
it took a truly dark turn. In Detroit and other Michigan cities such as Saginaw and Flint,
No.
that lead in the water, man, which were set ablaze what became known as Devil's Night.
We said that very excitedly, but honestly, that would be terrifying.
I would not have wanted to.
Terrifying! Oh
No,
my gosh.
no, horrifying.
No, people. What were you thinking?
Haunted houses.
Haunted houses. It was during the 1930s, about the same time as trick-or-treating started, that Halloween-themed haunted houses first began to appear in America. It was in the late 1950s that haunted houses as a major attraction began to appear, focusing first in California, because California's got some cool stuff. Home haunts began appearing across the country during it started about 1962, and this whole haunted house as an American culture icon can be attributed to the opening of the Haunted Mansion. Yeah.
They're very good at it.
People like to be scared.
Halloween in the 50s.
Yeah.
By the 1950s, Halloween had transferred into a family-friendly holiday from the previous scary one where they had ghosts meeting them over dinner, apparently. And geared towards children. But never fear, it wasn't just the kiddies having fun after World War II. Optimistic and increasingly suburban America embracing the at-home cocktail hour. Leading to novelty barware that included toxic-themed glasses.
Why
With
don't
a
I have
post-war
those?
baby boom. Halloween parties were moving away from town centers into private homes and schools. Most decorations were spooky and all black and orange. What?
Halloween movies and music. It was 1955 that brought The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
And what a legend it was.
Ooh, an episode from the popular TV show Disneyland into homes across America. I think we all remember that one. We can discuss.
Snuggling in at night on a Sunday night to watch Disney?
Whew.
That was the best back in the day. And I'm not even a Disney fan, but I did like that.
Yeah, that was nice. It was nice. February 1956 saw the release of the horror film Invasion of the Body Snatcher. Halloween's equivalent of Jingle Bells, the catchy song Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
The
Monster Mash.
Monster Mash by Bobby Pickett and the Crypt Keepers. Haha.
It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash.
Was released 2 weeks before Halloween in 1962 and quickly jumped to number 1 on the Billboard chart. Ah, my favorite. The Addams Family hit the air on September 18th, 1964, and the show's 7th episode, Halloween with the Addams Family.
Bum-ba-da-dum. Dun-da-da-dun.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Became an instant classic in its own right. It was so revered, in fact, that NBC turned it into a television movie in 1977, 11 years after the show went off the air.
Oh. Treats. Treats consisted of apples, popcorn balls, and wrapped homemade cookies and cupcakes.
Yum.
Taffy bites, mostly homemade, but there were also Tootsie Rolls, lots of suckers, Tootsie Roll Pops, and an occasional, much sought after
Candy bar.
We were often invited into a home for hot apple cider and cookies.
That was
Imagine.
once upon a time.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine just like randomly rolling up to some creepo's house and being like, hey, creepo.
Oh, your nice neighbor
Yes, they're the nice neighbor.
who invites you in for some hot apple cider.
I'm telling you, nowadays, if somebody was like, hey, would you like to let the little ones in? People would be like, no, run! Creeper!
We're not doing that.
There we are. Back then, you could get Bazooka Joe, Tootsie Pops, and Babe Ruth sometimes.
Pretty yummy.
Breaking your teeth on Bazooka Joes right now. How many have ever bitten into a Bazooka Joe that didn't feel like it had been laying somewhere for 10 years?
Are awful. I mean, I'm sorry if
And then the
you
flavor
are
of the
a fan,
bubblegum goes away in like 5 minutes.
but
Not
this
even
was
5 seconds.
before gum technology moved forward and brought us into a better era.
That's right. Thanks, Hubba Bubba.
So let's go for a couple candies because I want to know your favorite.
You
I'm
don't
sure
want to
wanna
list a
know
couple
my
candies.
favorite.
Lola's got a list of candies.
Well,
so let's talk about it.
List of candies.
List of candies.
The York Peppermint Patty may be a favorite treat. I don't know. Do you like York Peppermint Patties?
I feel like I'm standing on the mountain of snow.
Believe it or not, that came around in 1940. That's a long time ago. There were Mike and Ike's. Did you eat Mike and Ike's?
I've had Mike and Ike's, and like many of the candies from back in the day, they should never have been made.
Yuck. M&M's.
Yes.
M&M's debuted in 1941. I wonder if they had developed their candy technology to not melt in your hand. There were Dots, Gumdrops, Go-Ro's, preceded by Crow's.
I will not
Go-Ro's.
let you disparage of the Dots because, in my personal opinion, Dots and Crows are two of my favorite candies of all time. I realize other people don't feel the same way, but if I go to another movie theater that does not have Dots for sale, I will once again turn around, walk out, go down to the local store, buy the Dots, and I will smuggle them through your front door because, gosh darn it, you should be selling me Dots if you want me to come see your movie. Lola knows the rules.
The rules. Those came out in 1945.
Delish.
1949, Jolly Ranchers, Whoppers, Smarties, and Junior Mints all came out.
Jolly Ranchers are one of the greatest things ever.
So we have very
Whoppers?
different opinions.
For
I like
Whoppers.
Whoppers, and I love Junior Mints. They're delicious.
What, Smarties?
Nobody likes Smarties.
It's a sugar wafers.
They're like Tums.
Yeah.
For 1950, we see Hot Tamales and Andy's
Oh,
Mints.
hot tamales, cinnamon
I don't-
gummy candy.
But-
so good.
Yeah, I disagree. I
More
don't like
cinnamon
that.
gummy candy for me.
I didn't like the stuff that sticks in my teeth. So the Pez dispenser, which we all know and love, showed up in 1952, and they were given little cartoon heads and marketed for candy.
Yeah.
No, I just
Speaking of
I couldn't get
little
any of
baby
that.
Tums.
1959 Pixie Sticks. I don't even know what those are.
No, it's just a way to get people ready for cocaine at a young age, I guess.
I don't know. I
They're
don't
like,
know.
hey
Just
kids,
didn't do that.
you want cocaine? I mean powdered sugar?
1962 Lemon Heads,
Lemon Heads are
which
pretty good.
were delicious. It's the French in me. I love some
Lemon Heads
lemon.
are good.
It's so tasty.
Also, not to be forgotten, along with Alexander the Grape, was done by the same company, and Candy Cigarettes. All done by the same company that made Lemon Heads. I do remember all that. You
I do
don't have any
remember
hard-
candy cigarettes.
When you're a kid, you're like this. You take it, and you go, and then the powdered sugar blow off of it one time, and then the rest of it was just like the worst gum you've ever had in your whole life.
Yeah, I remember candy cigarettes. They were
Almost
gross.
as bad as Bazooka Joe.
But I also remember candy necklaces, and I did like a candy necklace. They tasted
That was
gross.
just like Necco wafers.
But you
Oh,
could
strange.
but you could nibble on them. There was something fun about that, about eating your clothing.
Then we got Sweet Tarts in 1963.
Yeah, those were gross too.
Then we had, though it was known as the 100 grand bar today, when the chocolate crisp Reisman caramel confection debuted in 1966, it was called the $100,000 bar.
Well, that was a dumb name.
It's just too much.
100
A lot in
grand
your mouth.
bar,
No.
way better. Good job, guys.
Originally introduced in 1960 in England under the name Opal Fruits, Starburst underwent their name change and made their way statewide in 1967.
Pink Starburst are the best.
I
Pink are
agree.
the best. So, Duke, what is your favorite candy? You already talked about the licorice and the dots, but like, if you were trick-or-treating, what would you hope to come away with?
Oh, a Heath bar.
Oh,
nobody
those are
hands out Heath
good.
bars anymore, and they are so good. Of all the
Those are
peanut
good.
butter kind, they're like the
They're
most
caramel. Aren't they
crunchy.
like a toffee? They're
Yeah,
toffee.
like a crunchy peanut butter bar.
Yeah, toffee.
Nobody
They're
gets Heath bars
good.
anymore. I don't know what's up with that. That of
They're old
course.
people food.
Dark chocolate was good.
Me going around trick-or-treating, my favorite Reese's peanut butter cups. I know, everybody
See,
says
Heath
that.
bar right there, but it
So
doesn't have the
good.
chocolate in it, but it's got the crunchy peanut butter.
Heath bars are toffee covered in a thin layer of chocolate. Reese's
true.
peanut butter cups are the most delicious peanut butter in the entire world covered with chocolate. And nowadays, not in my day, but nowadays you can get them covered in dark chocolate. Even better.
That's way better.
Yeah.
So let us know what your memories of the 50s, 60s were with Halloween.
Yeah.
And what's different about today. Let's keep it positive out there, guys.